And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It is the 5th, August, 2026. Hope you're having a good day. As always, dead serious talk about you and everything that affects you. We are about markets, money, your job, your industry, along with Washington, D.C. As we have stated time and time again, we never had to do Washington, D.C. We never did. We used to do an hour to 2 hours of markets and economy. And then what happened? $40 trillion of debt. We're now at 40. Corruption, self-dealing, insider trading, lobbyists, payoffs. Remember the campaign finance reform, right? You remember that? Campaign finance reform. Remember that? Remember what they said? They're going to take money out of politics. And what did they do? They changed it to where? What did they say? Kamala Harris spent $1.5 billion? I'm reading about Senate campaigns, $100 million. They lied. So we had to start covering them because they don't leave us the hell alone. And even the ones that call themselves conservatives don't leave us the hell alone. As we have said to you in the past, if I was the president, keep the border closed, strong on crime, keep taxes low, get rid of onerous regulations, and get the hell out of your way. Oh, that's right, balanced budgets. Remember, they used to fight over the debt ceiling, right? They don't do that anymore, do they? So we have to cover them, especially with this guy, because he is a nonstop, 24/7. And it's election time. We're going to cover a little bit of that too today. And if you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our X feed. If you do not follow us on X, you should. No, you should. Just put our name in. If you like to email us, just be nice and respectful. We'll be nice and respectful back unless you like Hamas. Or you like terrorism and all that. So I'm going to read you the headline of the day. Well, not necessarily the headline of the day, but one that caught my eye. SpaceX plans moon factories powered by humanoid robots. No, I'm not making that up. SpaceX plans moon factories powered by humanoid robots. That just caught my eye. Humanoid robots on the moon with factories. Okay. Who's going to do that? Who's going to build that? Who's going to get those robots up there? Anyway, that was a headline that I saw. I got some other headlines also in a little bit. Oh, by the way, in no particular order, SpaceX earnings, I believe, finished at the low of the day, or near the low of the day. SpaceX, down $17 today, but it's down a little. Totally today, it's down $18.24, about 14% on their earnings. So it really is the number one question we get, SpaceX, because it's in the news big time and all that crap. we'll repeat a few things. The positive side. We think they're going to grow big time going forward. Which way, which form, what leads, I don't know. But we believe that they are going to grow leaps and bounds. I believe Elon Musk came out today and said, instead of doing $1 trillion in revenue by 2031, we're moving that to 2030. They have a run rate. They're about they're at about 25 billion right now, I think. He says that sales are going to go up 40-fold by 2030. Do we think that's possible? 40-fold? He said that today. Don't know. The only thing we do know is what we have said to you. And that is the valuation they brought it out at was a joke. How they can look people straight in the face. We're not talking Elon Musk here. We're talking the investment bankers. How they can look at people straight in the face and put this out at 1.77 trillion with 18 billion in revenues. Well, actually not surprising. Unfortunately, in the first 2 days, they opened it up at 150. They rammed it to 225 on the third day, 226. Closed that day at around 202. It is now at 107.65. And as I said to you, if they were selling pipes, it would be like a $20 IPO, maybe not even that high. But of course, they're not selling pipes, right? They're not selling pipes. But you got to always be careful about hype and tout. And this one was a big one. And we do not have any idea where it stops. The first earnings report was sold. That's all we know. And we just want to start with that. Gold. We haven't even talked about gold in forever because we really didn't have to talk about gold in forever. Nothing's ever 100% when we state something. Nothing is ever 100%. But gold and the gold miners jumped above the 50-day moving average today. And we think a better than average chance a low has been put in after topping out in January and going through the motions. Today, at the close, this is the first day gold is back above that all-important 50-day moving average since March 17th. Does that mean it's going to work? No. Does it give you better odds that it's going to work? Yup. So I wanted gold miners. Silver, I would throw that in there also, but silver is not as strong at this juncture, and usually it'll move a lot better than gold. But I don't see that as of yet. So that's the next part of the equation today. Next, AMD down 45 bucks today. Am I right? Yeah. Just letting you know. What else? So we have been telling you that some of the mega caps have been acting better. Great reaction to earnings of Amazon, Microsoft. Not a terrible reaction to Google, but it got back that whole drop and even more, and was acting pretty darn well, and actually moved above a little range that was sitting around $376. Up next, what happened with Google today? This is the one only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. At 12:05 p.m. today, Google was announced their chief scientist. What a great title. What do you do for a living? I'm the chief scientist at Google. By the way, it's Alphabet now, but I don't know why they changed the name. What a great title. You're the chief scientist? Sheldon Cooper would be happy with that title. Big Bang Theory, by the way. He's leaving. To launch an artificial intelligence startup focused on scientific discovery. The stock dropped $19 before you can blink. Finished down 15 and change today. Just letting you know. The only reason I wasn't in it is because my thought process was simple. These stocks for mega caps, little too much. Got lucky, but we'll keep an eye on it because Google was acting very well before that news. But that hit today. Had to mention that as we do a little bit of our tidbits today. And we'll do the market averages a little bit. Nvidia. Elon Musk said we're going to do exclusive business with Nvidia. Finished up $8 today. Was up 10. It's a big move for Nvidia. That happened today. So a lot of Elon Musk going on. Some movement good, some movement bad. But I want to just go back to SpaceX again because I'm not making this up when I'm saying. I was in Starbucks yesterday and two men walked up to me and said, "Hi, enjoy you on TV. Tell me SpaceX is going higher." Not kidding. And I think there's a lot of that. Remember, they opened SpaceX up to retail, I guess, and people got stock at 135. Remember what we told you? If it broke that, it's going to invite selling because of people's tolerance and expectations. We're just reporting the news. Next thing. And some things I'm going to say may be jarring, but I'm just reporting things to you from what I can. Remember what we tell you here. There's only a select few people that we really, really follow. And we kind of shut out everybody else. If George Soros is ever talking about the market, he doesn't much anymore, I'm going to listen. Stanley Druckenmiller, who worked for Soros, I'm going to listen. David Tepper, I'm going to listen. That guy Michael Burry, did the short movie and whatever, I'm going to listen. Paul Tudor Jones, I'm going to listen. Somebody you may not have heard of, Dan Zanger, I'm going to listen. Gil Morales, I'm going to listen. And there's a few others, but not many. Jim Ropel, I'm going to listen. But again, not many others. And I just want to read, Michael Burry has said we are near the top of the market. Just letting you know. But at the same time, Bank of America's Bull and Bear indicator hits one of the strongest stock market sell signals of the century. Huh? Again, be careful about this. I'm just letting you know. Tom McClellan, I follow him, says this pattern of 15 good years followed by 15 years when you had better be a market timer has worked all the way back to the 1830s. The next yellow box starts about now. And since we've been up, we'll see. I'm not so sure this 15-year thing is, just letting you know. We don't ever quote the perma bulls or the perma bears because they're perma bulls and they're perma bears. The guy who wrote the crash and smash, he says he's right about everything and we know he's not. We don't talk about. So we're just letting you know what some people are saying. But also margin debt has never risen this fast. That's people borrowing money to buy stock. I think that's of note. Margin is your best friend when the market's going up. It's your biggest enemy when markets top. Why? Because the margin comes off before actual selling of real money comes off. Leverage. So just letting you know, seeing a little bit of this, and we'll see what happens. Today, there was a sell-off into the close, especially the Nasdaq and Nasdaq 100. Excuse me, and the semis. It was on the weaker side all day, and I can tell you very simply, using the 1-minute chart, the Nasdaq in the last 5 minutes dropped from 26,433. Do I got that right? Dropped 80 points in the last 5 minutes. And from about 330, dropped about 140 points. And we'll have some aftermarket reports for you in a little bit on some important names. Anyway, Dow was up 263. It was up 600 at one time. But what have we told you about the Dow? Careful. Because if Goldman Sachs goes up 1% or down 1%, it's equivalent to 65 Dow points. If Nike goes up 1% or down 1%, it's equivalent to no points hardly. 2 points. Got to be careful there. Up next, more in the markets. And elections. This is the one only investors edge. All right. Other bits of news. As of this second, ain't nothing done. Ain't nothing done with Iran, in spite of the president. Ain't nothing done, in spite of the president saying everything's great. They called me and begged me. That's what the president said. And the market got hit late in the day, and I think as I'm looking, oil bounced a little bit, not enough to do that. We'll see. In the Dow, Amgen was up 17. That's on earnings. That's about 120 some odd Dow points. Goldman was up 25 at one time, but finished only up 7. Still about 50 Dow points. And we mentioned Nvidia with the nice little move also. But we were up 600, finished down up 263, but this S&P was down 13. Tells you a little bit of the market today. There were big movers up and down. I'm not going to mention any of the ones that are down. But Amgen was strong. Booking Holdings was strong. Bloomin' Brands, what used to be Outback Steakhouse, was strong. Shopify strong. So you had some good ones. In the aftermarket of import, staring me straight in the face, is Western Digital. Closed at 520. I got it at 470. Down 50. I got SanDisk at 1350. I got it at 1300. So those are two real important ones after the close. They are down a little bit. But Expedia closed at 320. I got it at 345. To the upside on Expedia. Ooh, I've been waiting for HubSpot to see if they can get better. Oops, closed at 250. It's 215 in the aftermarket. That's a software name. I don't need to do any others. So a lot of jello moving on the plate after the close. And Seagate, that goes along with Western Digital a little bit, closed at 837. I got it at 820. And Micron does that too. Micron fell at the close. Okay, so that didn't move. And that's a little bit of that. Don't like seeing a lot of gaps to the downside on earnings reports, ladies and gentlemen. Which takes us to the next part of the equation here. We had some primary elections last night where some what they call themselves democratic socialists winning. One especially in Michigan, where Republicans are looking at as it being good because supposedly the guy was going to win by 12 points and he only won by 1. But he still won. And now he'll go up against the Republican that I think has been in D.C. for like 25 years. Let me tell you the problem for Republicans so you know. And why is this important? Well, in case you don't know, these democratic socialists do not like the West. They hate Israel even though it's based on a big lie. I heard him say today, Israel apartheid, and I've told you every race, creed, color, denomination, short, tall, big, fat, skinny, small, Arab, Sikh, whatever, live, work, and play together in Israel. Arabs are in the Knesset also. Apartheid my ass. It's just a big lie because they hate Jews, and they hate Jews for a long time. But they blame Israel now for genocide, which is another lie. They were calling genocide before October 7th, in case you didn't know, an occupation. Israel left Gaza in 2005. They took out families. Jewish families made them leave. They've been gone ever since, never to bother them. While in Gaza, the heads of Hamas stole all they plundered everything. You had these heads of Hamas worth $5 billion squirreled away in Qatar and some of these other places. Israel wasn't even there. And on October 8th, these same people were celebrating Israelis murdered. But now it's genocide because Israel said, up yours, we're coming after every one of these people that murdered our people. Well, every one of these animals that murdered our people, but that's genocide. But you know what the problem is for Republicans? Let me read a quote from the gentleman who won last night in the primary in Michigan. I believe our kids have a right to our tax dollars. I'm about 10 minutes away from schools that look like they did 50 years ago. Our money should be spent here rather than sent in the form of bombs or tanks. You got that? Message. Heard. You got that? It's a good message. I'm in New York City. I see the schools. A lot of them are dilapidated. How much have we spent in Iran now with bombs and rockets and planes and people? A lot. Message. It's going to get interesting the next few years, ladies and gentlemen, because this Republican Party has let us all down. They had a chance to do something about debt and deficits, and they lied about it. They had a chance to do something about the corruption of Joe Biden and his family, and they took that and multiplied it by several $billion. So the left has all these cases to do ad after ad after ad against the what I call Republicans. These people would have no chance if the conservative wing of the Republican Party did the job, but they've been drowned out by a president who is not conservative at all. So it's going to get interesting. The Republicans are losing the House. I think there's a shot in the Senate. Just letting you know. I think there's a shot. Unfortunately. Messages. People having trouble affording things, and the president says affordability's a lie, while he puts gold on everything in Washington, D.C. and in the White House. I got an email today from somebody. There's an article now that came out on the Suns that they've received now $3.2 billion for whatever they're doing from our government. Washington Post. $3.2 billion. And they try to tell us, oh, but there's no conflict of interest here. They are just, you get my point? Messages. I can't imagine the advertisements they're going to run for the next 2 months. A dropped opportunity, in my humblest of opinions. Not to mention all the other side stuff that's been coming out of Washington, D.C. Just saying. A message. You spent $100 billion on bombs. Why aren't you doing something about the schools? That's a pretty damn good message to the moms out there, right? Be an interesting November in the next couple of years. Hey, up next, back on markets. This is the one only Investor's Edge. So rough close today. I didn't see any news except nothing done with Iran when we were told something's a day away. And the last thing Iran came out and said is we are not even in discussion. So we'll see. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Had a good move up the last few days. Rough day by the end of the day today. The semis AI, which rallied up, got roughed up into the close today. And I'm very interested to see tomorrow SanDisk and Micron which are not doing very well. Not the end of the world. Well, Western Digital, I meant. Western Digital roughed up a bit, which will take down Seagate. And we'll just see how it goes. If the Nasdaq falls back below the 50-day moving average, that would not be good news. That would be just about 25,947, which is about 1.75% from there. The good news, oil prices neatly down today again. Yields down by a little bit. Hope to see more of that. But interesting enough, and this is something we're going to be watching closely also, one of the Fed heads, which they don't often do, came out today and said we need to raise rates. This Fed head was one of the big easy money guys in the past, who I used to rail at. It is going to be interesting to watch that. I believe the Fed can be right where they are right now. I don't think they need to raise rates. If the 10-year yield heads towards 5% or more, then they should be raising rates. I'm a big believer that they should be about 1 point below the 10-year yield. Right now, they're 3.75 on Fed funds. The 10-year yield is at 4.61. And by the way, since I'm always asked, I'm going to give you the definition, Fed funds. They are cash reserves that commercial banks and other financial institutions deposit at regional Federal Reserve banks. But why is it important? It kind of shows you the Fed's hands on easy money or tightening money. The changes in that basically move outward, indirectly influencing like credit cards, auto loans, even mortgages, though really mortgages are tied to the 10-year yield, big time. And I've been asked, will we ever get back to 3% mortgage? Jay Powell's gone. I doubt we're ever going to get there ever again. And I believe to this day, one of the stupidest move anybody has ever done in D.C. ever. The housing distortions you are seeing now are the outcome of what he did a few years back. And he can give the excuse, oh, COVID, I needed to. No, he didn't. And he takes credit for things getting better. No. You know why things got better? We opened back up. So I just wanted to mention that because, that's going to be of import. I also want to state that the head Fed guy, Warsh, actually put out a little whatever about maybe only doing 4 meetings a year, which would thrill the hell out of me. I still think they do nothing for nobody and should be abolished. They do nothing for nobody. All they have ever done is cause damage. And I still remember years ago complaining about Greenspan. Greenspan was a tiptoe through the tulips. I'm just reading some Iran stuff while I got you. Not great. Yeah, we'll see. I hope I've sent a decent message to you today on elections, because there are some people winning elections right now that, and you know I watch my words very carefully, they're in the realm of a Fidel Castro. I mean that. And throw on top Jew haters and West haters. And they've proven it time and time again. You've got the New York City mayor. The New York City mayor. Think about that. I may have to run. Not. I was scared straight about running years ago. I met with a couple of operatives on both sides, and they scared me out of it. So I will try to do my best sending the message out on both parties. Because we are only getting here because one party that was supposed to do their job ain't. You have a great evening. Drive carefully when you get home. Do like I do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family, hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Stay well. Be well. Always a pleasure having you. Until tomorrow. Good night.